In this episode of Airtable Makeover, we're going to be recreating a Google document itinerary sheet into Airtable so it can be replicated with one click. Let's dive right in. First, let's take a look at the sheet. Artist name, date, looks like every piece of the itinerary, the time, the title, the details, and the status are going to live in an itinerary items table, but the contact is going to be a linked record to the contacts table, and even the location is going to be a linked record into a new table that we'll probably call event locations or something like that. And that way, if you're ever staying at the same hotel twice, you don't have to enter any of that information in more than once. There are some flight information, which may or may not be able to conform to the same event table that we're going to use for these blocked items, but we'll figure it out once we dive in. Now, heading into the base, what do we say? We have, remember, a contacts table already. So this is where the contact from the company can be linked. We've got artists already, and we're going to need an itinerary table. So we'll call this itineraries, maybe. And then itineraries is going to link to, let's see, itinerary items. So we'll create that table. And an itinerary is also going to link to artists. So we'll create that, and we'll say only one artist. All right, now let's just transform these three stock fields that they give you. The first one, we're going to make it called title. So it'll be like the title of the itinerary. Let's save that. And signee, we'll just delete. Status, this will be, I guess, where we trigger the creation of the document. So why don't we make some statuses like, I like in progress. I like trigger PDF maybe. That'll come in handy later. And we'll say, I don't know, PDF created. Who knows? Maybe we'll use those, maybe we won't. And then just for now, we'll put a auto number field into the primary field so that there's something in the records. And let's start building. So the first one is going to be, I think we chose a fictitious artist on our base called Leia Little. Great. And then the title will be June 2023 promo tour period. Cool. All right, now we got to start building some itinerary items. Let's start talking about the fields. So remember we had each one of those blocks had a title. So we'll say single line text. It had details. We'll make that long text. We'll say in rich formatting. It had contacts. And we'll do the linked record field, and we'll allow linking to multiple records. Sure. Status, location, right? So we'll call this status. And I guess the ones that I saw on the sheet were like confirmed. Make that a nice bright green. But before confirmed was like maybe pending. We'll make that a yellow. And let's just use those two to start. What else did we have? Time, location. Cool. Okay, so let's say time, or we'll say, I don't know, start time. And we'll just use a date field with time, 12-hour format. Let's use the same time zone for everybody. I'm on the East Coast in the United States, so that's what we'll use. And we'll say duplicate. And we'll say end time. Perfect. Okay, and then the last thing we'll do is we'll create that locations table. And one itinerary item will have one location. So we'll just do it like that. And then on the locations table, we're going to have the name. I guess we can use the primary field for name, and then we'll just have street, city, state, zip, phone number, phone number. All right. So let's just start building here. So GMA hair, that's going to be the name of the itinerary item. We're going to have this itinerary, first of all. It's going to be Lay a Little June 2023 promo tour. Status will be in progress. And the itinerary items will start to create. So take this. This item is going to get linked to itinerary number 1. The title is going to be, what did I say? GMA hair. So what do we call it? GMA hair, GMA sound check, GMA sport glam. Okay, cool. Let's see, what were the details here? Let's call details or hair touch up. Julie Lucas. Status of this one was confirmed. Start time, we can just make this up. We'll say, I don't know, June, I think it was June 10th. Say 10 a.m. And then I just copied and pasted that time over here, but we'll say it ends at 2 p.m. 2 p.m. And the location in this case was the Boardwalk Hotel. So let's create that record, add new record, Boardwalk Hotel. And then let's just put in some information. 123 Main Street, Miami, Florida. I don't know, some zip code, and then phone number. Perfect. Great. Boardwalk Hotel. Awesome. Okay, and then what happens? Then we go to GMA sound check. It's at 4 p.m. There's no location, but there's a contact. We'll just make it up. So we'll say GMA sound check details lorem ipsum dolor. This is also going to be in itinerary 1. This is going to be confirmed, and this is going to happen at 4 p.m. And let's say that this is going to be at the, I don't know, Boardwalk Theater. And we'll just create some information for that. We'll say Miami, Florida. Great. There's no end time. Let's just do one more for this. Okay. GMA Sport Glam is at 5:30. We'll put a bunch of details in for that. And in this case, we'll use some of the rich text formatting just for the sake of it. Great. Let's see, Julie Lucas. Who else do we have here? Michael Brown, Susan Baker. Let's put these people in. Michael Brown, Susan Baker. This is also confirmed. We'll say this starts at 5:30. And this is going to be at the Boardwalk restaurant. No, the Boardwalk. We'll say back at the Boardwalk Hotel. Go back to the hotel, do the glam, and then that evening there's going to be dinner. So we'll say GMA, or we'll say team dinner, and use some different dummy text. Maybe take that piece right there. And let's see what they have for dinner. They said it's at a steakhouse. So we'll call this one Tommy T's Steakhouse. We'll say this is 5 Main Street, Miami, Florida. Phone number. Tremendous. We'll say this one's confirmed. So this is pending. Why not? And then the point of contact for them on this is going to be, where are we? Dinner. Larry Garcia. Put in Mr. Larry. And that's going to be, let's say, 8:30. 8:30. And we'll do one more for that day. We'll call it after party. And in this case, we'll say a couple things here. Okay, pause for a moment. Okay, the after party is going to be linked to itinerary number 1 as well. And let's give this after party a bunch of people's information. So we'll say this one's got Julie, Michael, and Susan. And we'll call that confirmed. And we'll say, I don't know, maybe say something like, Leia will be spinning a 60-minute set starting at 1 a.m. or something like that. But this event, we're going to say, starts at 11:30. Boom. Okay, we'll give an end time to dinner. Say that goes till 11. Team dinner, 2.5 hours. Let's go. Cool. All right. Let's use that same auto number trick here. And the show is going to be at, I don't know, let's call it Pasha. It's a nightclub. All right. Okay. So let's see what else we got here. That takes care of one night. And let's just throw in some flights the next day and talk about how this might be different. So flights have people. Flights have the details. Maybe we'll call this a header or a title, details, depart, arrive, confirmation number. Confirmation number can go in details. And the airport that they have to be at can easily be a location. And then the hotel when they arrive in the next city can just be another item. So I think we can fit, although what they've decided to do is make entirely different style blocks for air travel. I think we can just make it all the same. So let's throw this together here. So let's say the next day, June 11th at 9:15 a.m. there is a confirmed flight to, let's call it Atlanta. And then we'll put all the details here. We'll say passengers. Put that there. What else? Confirmation number. Flight number. So passengers. Say flight. Airline. Say American Airlines. Flight number. Confirmation. And then let's just make these some bullets. Cool. Still going to be in the same itinerary, just a different day. Did they list a contact for this? Nope, there's no contact. Cool. And the location is going to be Miami International Airport. And that record is going to have an address. So we'll say like 1 Airport Way, Miami, Florida. Cool. Okay. We'll say like, I don't know, arrival time or something. Must arrive at airport before 7:30. Let's say 8 a.m. Okay. We'll say if there's any issues, you gotta call Julie. Cool. All right. Hotel. So we'll say check into hotel in Atlanta. We'll say check-in is this date. Let's call it at 12:15 p.m. Let's just say check out. Out of hotel in Atlanta. Contact in this case, it's Susan. Confirmed. I'm going to check out, let's say the next day at 3 p.m. And this hotel is going to be Intercontinental, downtown. And that's going to be 55 High Street, Atlanta, Georgia. Phone number. Cool. Same there. We'll say check into Atlanta Hotel. What else did they want to put there? Hotel confirmation numbers, love it. Love it. Okay. 2 rooms. Confirmation numbers. Boom. Okay, so if you were watching our most recent video on Documint, you'll already understand how you can go from an Airtable series of linked records into a custom formatted document PDF format with one click. But we'll do that again if you're new. So let's open up the interface. Go to this records. You know what? Let's start an entirely new interface because I like the way that looks. So interface is going to be, we're going to call it itineraries. Itineraries. Use that icon. Blue. Okay. Let's select record review and see how that looks. So the record we're going to review is the itinerary record. And let's just start with everything and pare it back. Call this itineraries. Great. So there's that first one. I think we want to now start to name it something better. In this case, let's use a formula. We'll concatenate the title. See what that looks like. There you go. July 2023 promo tour. Play a little. Great. Let's delete these. Get back to here. Okay, here we go. Cool. So we don't need a link to the artist. We do need the title. And we want to make that editable. So we can change. We want the status. Let's bring that up. That needs to be able to change. Then we've got these itinerary items. I want to make this a pill. We're going to need a better name for these items. Pause. All right, so we've got the itinerary items. Let's make them look a little bit better. We'll make the fields, instead of itineraries, let's hide that. We'll have title, details, status. How about that? Then it's about time we give them a proper primary field. So this is going to be, let's say, title and date, title and start date. So here we're going to come, formula, concatenate, title, date time format, we'll say start, and then I think we'll get by with this lowercase l. Just remember, hold on, after the lowercase l, we now need to put close parentheses. Did not work. So we need to close that out and then put the close parentheses. Cool. And there we go. And just remember, if you're looking for date, time, format, Airtable, just search it like that in Google. And you'll get a sheet or a page like this, and this tells you how you can use all of the different codes to get the different formats that you want. So you saw I used lowercase l, and then we got this, but you could use any one of these and get whatever you want. I'll link this in the description of the video. Okay. So now we go back to interface, and you've got a little bit better situation going on here. Why don't we make this full size? I don't see why not. Preview. Itinerary items. Okay. All right, we're going to want to be able to click into each itinerary item to change some stuff. So let's allow it. Come to think of it, this all might be better using a list view. So let's come here, put a list, make it full. The list is itinerary items. Let's delete this. And we've got the name, title, details, status. Okay. It's allowed to open up, and when you open up, you get all this stuff fully editable. Details, status. So we'll put the title and details up there. The title is meant to be a single line text field. Let's change that. Contacts. We're gonna make these a pill. Cool. Start time, end time. Let's move those up. Don't need that. Contacts is cool to have up here. And location. And we can call this location since it's only going to be one. We'll make all these editable. Change the location. Change that. Change the end time, start time, boom, boom, boom. And then the details, let's make that bigger. And we can take this top section here, give it a nice little grouping color. Boom, we got ourselves what's called a detail screen. So you got your list. Find the list item you want to kind of drill into. Go to the detail screen. All right, we're getting there, we're getting there, we're getting there. So you got all these, you got these lists here, and we want to sort it. Definitely want to sort it by start time, where the earliest is the top, but you recall you can change it if you wanted. Let's just make it start the earliest. What else we got to do? I don't think we need the details in the list view here, so let's find the details. We'll hide that. Tighten this up. Expand that a little bit. Tighten this up. Expand that. Preview again. Give ourselves a little more space. And we're good. Let's see what that looks like. Cool. All right, now we need a button to create another one of these items. We also might need a title to this section here. Maybe we can put it like that. Itinerary items, that works. Itinerary items, title, status, itinerary items. Okay. And then we want to be able to add a record. Right now it's saying the feature is not currently available in interfaces for elements with a linked record source. That's going to be a problem. Let's see how to fix that. All right, so we're going to need to be able to enter a new itinerary item as things come up. We're also going to need to be able to delete them. So if we are in preview mode, double click, looks like we're having trouble deleting. So the way we're going to delete is this. We're going to create a status. We're going to call it archived. We'll just say archive. And then we'll limit filter these by specific records where status is any of pending and confirmed. So if I were to change the status of this to archive, it would fall out of view. That is probably best practice when deciding whether you want to delete or not delete, or display or not display. This way, if we want to go back, we can always go back and reactivate that by switching the status from archived back into maybe pending or something like that. All right, and now we need this button that's going to allow us from this view to create another itinerary item. Here's how we're going to do that. let's pause a second. Do we have location in here? Yep, we have location. Cool. Okay. So let's create a form. We'll call this new itinerary item. The form is going to have essentially everything. You're going to have the itinerary that it's linked to. That's going to have to be required. A title is required. Details not so required. Status, we'll say, is required. Maybe we'll move that up. Details, contact, start time, end time, location, those are great, but they're not required. Move the contacts and location towards the bottom. Great. And we'll say, use this form to add an itinerary item. Great. Now copy the link to the form. First, I'll show you what it looks like. Perfect, 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 perfect. Let's change a couple things at the bottom here. No Airtable branding. We'll say, submit another response, show blank form after 5 seconds. Cool. All right. So now we're going to build a pre-filled version of this form in the parent table. So we're going to call this add item. We'll make it a button. And we'll label the button add item. Style it nice and fancy. What's everything here? Purple. Make it purple. Open URL, and now we need to create the URL formula, which is going to be a concatenate function. The first part is going to be the Airtable URL itself. Then question mark prefill underscore itineraries equals comma, and then the record ID of this itinerary record. That should work as long as this field is called itineraries. We're good to go. All right, so now watch. If I click the add item button, it shows up as already pre-filled with the itinerary from which or to which we're adding it. And that is super powerful, particularly now that we're going to put that button up here at the top. So add element, put the add item button. Let's just put it right up here. Let's see what that looks like. Cool. So now if you want to add an item, go like that. And we can say, okay, car pickup status confirmed. We'll say, I don't know, a car will be picking you up outside the hotel to take you to, let's just say to take you home. I don't know, to take you to the airport. And we'll say that's going to happen on the 12th at 3:30, not 3:30 a.m., 3:30 p.m. And we'll say the contact is going to be, let's just say Patrick Hall. Maybe Patrick Hall is the driver. I don't know. Fine. And we're going to say it's going to happen at the hotel. So we can just use that existing hotel record, which is going to have all that information. Now watch, let's just go back here real quick. You don't see that, right? The last thing you see is checking out of the hotel at 3 o'clock. Then we need the pickup, let's call it 3:15. Submit that. And now you've got that car pickup, 3:15. Boom, Intercontinental Hail, car will be picking you up. Boom, boom, boom. Fantastic. So now we can add new items to the itinerary. All right, now we need to see what this is all going to look like in the PDF before we create a button that allows us to generate the PDF for us. That's, in my opinion, best practice. That's how I've done it all in the past. Look at all that space we just opened up. Hold on. Boom. Boom. Nice. This top part here needs to be full. There you go. Full length. There we go. All right. We are rocking here. Okay. So how are we going to decide what that's going to look like? So we got to create, in each one of these items, we have to create the block of text. So you recall there's this block of text: title, time, location, contact, details, status. So let's start with title and time. Push this back. Itinerary items. Okay. This is going to be a formula field, and we'll call this, we'll call it text block. How about that? Text block. Formula. And we're going to say title. So first we'll say concatenate title, and then we're going to use this little fancy function here to give us a line break. We'll do another comma. I'm going to copy that. You'll see why in a second. So we're going to say title, say start time, the space, comma, and then start time. We have to format that. So we have to say daytime format, start time, comma, and then let's make it we'll do L right now, but we're going to have to go back to that sheet we talked about a second ago and find a better way to display the start time. Okay, let's copy this because we're going to do the same thing for end time. Let's just show you what that looks like so far. All right, looks all right, except for the fact that my slashes are in the wrong direction. I think we got to go like that in order to get the page breaks. So that's a problem. And then let's just take a look. Cool. Get the title, start, end. Let's keep building before we go back. And then we're going to say contacts, details, status. So we'll say contact details and finally status. We're missing a couple things there. All right. Cool. Details, contacts, status. All right, let's shape this up. Because remember, that is not what I want. What do we want this to look like? We want these dates to look like this, potentially. So what's that, 4 L's? Yeah, I like that. I like that. Let's try 4 L's. So we go back in here. Instead of 1 L, we go 4 L's. 4 L's. Check that out. That looks cool. Except it's not really correct because we're going to need a time zone. So we'll have to say set time zone. Put that in there. Time zone identifier. We'll use America, New York, I believe. America, New _ York. So set time zone, got that, and then America / New _ York. Close that out. I don't know if this is going to work. Let's take a look. Oops. Did not work. I know why. Let's try to back that out. There we go. So daytime format. So this start time thing, that's where we do it. So we say time zone, start time, comma, America / New _ York. Let's see if that works. Come on, baby. Let's go. We'll do the same thing for the end time. Sorry. Okay, I'm gonna clean these errors up, I promise you. We'll do that last. The next thing is you notice that in some of these things they've got phone numbers, right? They want everybody's phone number. They don't just want their name. They want you to know how to get in touch with all these contacts. So let's figure out that. First of all, we need phone numbers for all these contacts. So let's just put them in. So click through to the contact. I don't even think there's a phone number field at the moment. So we're going to make one. Back to the contacts table. Call it phone number. We'll make it field type phone number. Now let's go back to these items. Julie is going to have a phone number. Cool. Michael's going to have a phone number. Susan's going to have a phone number. Larry's going to have a phone number. Let's see, Michael, Susan's, Patrick. Patrick's the only guy. He's the one picking up at the airport. Need his phone number. Okay. All right, now we do this. We say look up that phone number. So we've got contact phone number. All right. That's not what I wanted. Delete that field. All right, so now back in the contacts table, let's make a field that just has first and last name plus phone number, because that's the information that we want it displayed. So we'll say name and phone. That's the type, that's the name of the field. The formula is going to be concatenate first, last, phone, and let's see what it looks like. All right, it looks good. I mean, not all of these people have phone numbers. I don't love the fact that there is some extra bracketing going on there, some extra parentheses happening. So let's, instead of using parentheses, let's just use a dash. See how that looks? Yeah, it looks fine. Okay, looks fine. So now we're back on the itinerary items table, and we want a field that's going to have not just, right now we're referencing the contacts and it's just got their name, but we want it to reference their name and their phone number. So we are going to insert right. We're going to call this contact name and phone. And we're going to roll up from the contacts table that name and phone. And we're going to say array join values. And then we take a look at it. In this case, let's look at what it, see how it looks. Okay, we definitely need a space in there. I don't love the dash. Let's do this. Let's say array join values, and we'll do our little fancy end trick. See what happens there. Maybe it stacks them up. Wait. Again, we use the wrong backslash. Let's do that again. There we go. Now we're stacked up. Now that we're stacked up, I don't even think I really need the dash. So we're going to go back to contacts, take away that dash entirely, just make it a space. And check that out again. Cool. Super dope. Now back in this text block, for contacts, we're gonna put a space before and after. So it's gonna say contacts, and then it'll drop down, and it'll put the name. But instead of just the contact name, we're gonna put that block of text that we just created, and it's gonna have another space. Hell yeah, contacts, Julie Lucas. Boom. Boom. Okay, and I'm gonna make a slight change here. And making them capitals because it stands out a little bit better. Status. Ooh, this didn't work. Daytime did not work. Time zone. Come on, time zone, what'd you do? Unless, of course, it's 2 a.m. Yeah, no, it did work. It's not supposed to be 2 a.m. It's supposed to be 10 to 2 p.m. So it did work. We just had the wrong info. 10 a.m., 2 p.m. Sweet. Contacts, Julie Lucas. Details. I don't mind having the contacts start at the top line there. So to take that out, the first name will be at the top. Other names will fall under. All right, now we're going to fix these errors. So these errors are coming in because there is no end time. Sometimes you're just saying, hey, show up here. It doesn't have to be like start and end. So we can use some conditional logic to take care of that. So let's just highlight this whole thing and we'll cut it. And then we'll say if end time, then the whole thing. Otherwise, take away the end part. Just go right into contacts. And then we need another close parentheses, and that will work. Boom. So now it just says start. And if it's not a start and end, we can relabel it. So instead of saying start, we'll say date time, I guess. Date time. I did it to the wrong one down here. Date time. Boom. See what that looks like. All right. And one last thing I'll do is let's take this title and let's make it all uppercase. Give it like a nice bold thing. So we'll say, cut that and say upper, it's a formula. And we'll do the same thing down here. I think that's gonna look good. GMR hair, start, end, contacts, details. Boom. Let's find one where the details is kind of lengthy. Okay. All right. Now remember, this is only for internal purposes. I don't love how these bullets are showing up, which with the rich text. But when we get into creating this in the document, into the PDF, the bullets are going to display better, I promise you. All right, so now we need all these blocks to show up in the itinerary section. So now we're going to call this itinerary. We're going to call this preview. Why not? Preview. It's going to be a roll-up field. And we're going to roll up from the itinerary items the text block. And it's going to be an array join values with that \n. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, we need another \n in there. That's not going to work. Watch. Here's what we do. Take away that second one, and we end each of these blocks with one. That way we have an extra line at the end, and this will look good. There you go. GMA hair, GMA sport glam, team dinner, flight to Atlanta, check in to hotel in Atlanta, check out hotel in Atlanta, car pickup. Boom, boom, boom. And you can see how it's starting to resemble this. So remember, this is just a preview. We're going to be able to get the actual document that gets created to look, exactly like this, or even better than this if we want to style it different. So let's not worry about it. So now if we go back to here, we can add another block. Take preview off. Let's add that preview block to the bottom. Make it full size. And we can say to ourselves, okay, let's tighten this up. Say to ourselves, okay, well, what's it going to look like? And I actually don't like this being full size. I like it being nice and tight. There is the workings of your itinerary. In this case, I'm going to take away the label. I'm going to put a text item up at the top, and I'm going to say itinerary preview. We'll do small heading. Cool. And now if I were to say something like, I don't know, put some new details into GMA hair. Well, let's put some new details into this. I like these details. This gypsy performance. So we'll put it into the after party. Why is there no space there? What's going on? After party. Ah, yes. Just gonna do some cleanup here. All right, after party. I also like doing upper for status. I think that makes it stand out. Boom. Let's put some new after party details in there. Okay, so here we are. So we've got this after party. See how that fell in nice and nice. Okay, so now we got after party and we've got this thing. Leia will be spinning, blah, 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 blah. Let's add all this cool stuff. Full live show. Boom, boom, boom. Tighten up. Oops. Tighten, 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 tighten. And then we come back here. It may take a minute, but no, there it is. It's already there. So the after party's now got tons of details. Awesome. So it's all dynamic. Once you make the changes, you can come in here. Sorry, I should have done it in here. Come in here, you can change it and say, these are the details for the after party. Close it up, and there it's going to come up. There it is. These are the details for after party. Let's change this to have an end time, right? After party starts at 11:30. Let's say it goes to 3 in the morning. Not the 27th. 3 in the morning on the 11th. There you go. Now you got yourself an end time. All right. All right. Now we're going to make this into a PDF on demand. This is going to be awesome. Document. Get yourself an account. We're going to call this Industry Records Itinerary Template. And let's start building. So we've got a title here. Boom. So we're going to put a section. We're going to put, let's take away both columns. We're going to put some text. And we're going to put a second line of text. The top line of text is going to have curly braces. It's all about the curly braces. Artist. Curly braces. Title. And then we're going to say, I guess the word itinerary. I don't know, maybe we don't need that. So let's start centering that stuff. Now everything is customizable. This is why I absolutely love Documint. Everything is customizable. So we're just going to get the information in here, and then we're going to start formatting it. So, okay, we've got that, and then we're just going to drop in these blocks. Why not? So the way we do that is we put in a section underneath. Let's make it only one column. Put in the text that we want from the child table. So this is now the parent table. So the whole thing is going to be linked to the parent, which is why this section had the parent info. But I'm going to show you how to direct it towards the child info and then have this thing stack up as many times as it needs to. So the child table is going to have the same kind of situation we had here in preview. Sorry. Child table is going to have kind of the same situation we had in here. In fact, I might just use this. It's going to be easier. Than starting from scratch, because we already know what these fields are called if we just take this info. So let's go in here. So we need title. We want start. End. Contacts. Details. Status. Status. Looks pretty good. Let's just make everything lowercase, and to the extent that there's a space, we put underscores. And I don't like the ampersand in there. It was probably going to make me do something crazy. So I'm going to change that. We're just going to call it name phone. That's going to help us tremendously. Could have just done that here. So contact name phone, that's cool. Title start end, status, details. Boom. Okay, malformed variable. Yep, that's because we got some capital letters up in there and we don't have spaces. There we go. All right, now we got to connect, baby. Here's how you do it. Wait, there's a couple things we got to do first. Back on the table. Okay, we need a few things. One, we need to create a field that references the child table ID in the parent table. So we're going to come over to the child table, in this case itinerary items, grab the table ID, which is in the URL, starts with the letters TBL. Head over to itineraries, create a new field. We're going to call this itinerary items table underscore ID. It's going to be a formula field, and it's going to have that table ID in quotation marks. That's it. Don't ask why, just do it. Then we're going to create a button, and then we're going to have an attachment field. We're going to call it attachment. I always call it attachment. You'll see why in a second. Type attachment, and then we're going to create a button. The button's going to get created in here. We go integrations, Airtable, generation link. It's going to ask us for the table URL of the parent. So in this case, itineraries. So we'll drop it. It's asking you for the attachment field name. That's why I always call it attachment. It's not overwrite for now. We're going to expand link records to 2 levels. We've got child and parent. And then we copy this baby. Come back in here. The button, we're going to call this, I don't know, generate itinerary. Sure. Button, we'll call this generate PDF. Why not? And then we'll paste that whole formula the way we copied it from document. We'll say create field. And then we have to connect this section to the child. So we go here, we go edit logic, repeat loop. In this case, the table is called itinerary items. So we just type in itinerary underscore items. And we can sort the fields by, what is it called? Start date? Did we just call it start? Start time. So let's copy that. All lowercase, separated by that. Ascending, yep. Earliest stuff will be first. Boom. Now we should work. Hit the generate PDF button. Come on, baby. No whammy, no whammy, no whammy. Let's go. We are making progress, peeps. We are making progress. Okay, you notice the record ID of the artist came through and not the artist name. Should have known that was going to happen. So here's how you do that. You insert to the right. You call this, maybe you call this artist name. Make it a formula field. And just get that linked record here. Get this link into some text. That's how you do it. So now that is just a little bit of text. So instead of referencing artist here, let's reference artist underscore name. It's going to be that text field. I also can probably start formatting this like this. I don't know. Make it bigger. 16. Make it bold. Title, make that 14. Who knows? What else can we do? It's got too much space, way too much space. I also don't like the margin at the top. So we're gonna make the top only 1/2 inch. Bottom, only 1/2 inch. Don't need all that space. Okay. Too much margins and paddings and such. So they call it spacing. So this has 10 pixels at the top, 10 pixels at the bottom. This one has 10 pixels at the top, 10 pixels at the bottom. So let's just go 0 at the top, bump right up against the top. We'll go 5 at the bottom. This will go 5 at the top, 5 at the bottom. This will go 5 at the top, 5 at the bottom. Let's see how that looks. Also, let's potentially make this look a little better. Yep, the dates are not good. The spacing is also not good. Look at that. Look how much space there is. So start with the spacing. Okay, you see the text has 10 on top, 10 on bottom, but the section also has 10 on top, 10 on bottom. So we got to pick one or the other here. I think we take away text, just make it 0 and 0. And for the section, we do 5 on top, 5 on bottom. See how that looks? And we'll just kind of like iterate our way here towards success. Get rid of some of these. Now we're talking. Let's go. Again, start and end dates are not formatted properly. Don't you worry your little head. We'll get there. But everything else looking pretty good, except for the rich formatting. The old rich formatting, not looking good. I also don't love all this spacing. 10 pixels in between each of those. Let's fix that. So name here, let's make that, I don't know, 22. And let's say 0 at the bottom. Let's make this 18. 5 at the top, but 0 at the bottom. Let's see where this gets us. Now we're looking good. GMA hair, boom, boom, boom. All right. All right. Insert right. Title. No. In the itinerary items table, let's make a title upper. Gotta be upper. So we'll say upper title. And then we'll, what? Must have deleted the wrong one. Okay, so let's say, where were we? Documint, log in. I'm going to take the title out of here and put it in there. This way we can style it totally differently. So it's going to be title upper, but it's going to be maybe 14. It's going to be bold. It's going to be uppercase. Take the title out of here. See how that looks. Yeah, baby. Now we're talking. All right, we've gone on long enough here. Let's fix the date time formats. Let's fix the rich formatting of this stuff. And then we'll call it a day. Call it a day. you see how there's a break here. So like one item breaks across pages. I don't really want that. So I want to say avoid. That should help that. What else? All right, let's do the daytime formatting. So let's go to the Help Center. Data and variables, formatting, number, currency, percentage, duration, date and time. Okay. So it looks like this. Date, invoice date, boom, boom, boom. Here we go. It's probably going to be this exact one. Not quite. We'll say the date, 3 lowercase d's. There you go. A D and an L. Okay, we're getting there. So, date, we're going to say start time. I wanted to say three lowercase d's, 3 uppercase m's. So it's going to say whatever, Thursday, Jan. I didn't want it to say like first or something like that. So day of the month, capital D, lowercase o. And then the year. And then the hour, the minutes, seconds, and then AM, PM. Bro, if this works, we're out of here. And then here we'll say end time. Come on, baby. Generate that PDF. Let's go. Boom. Starts Saturday, June 10th, 2023, 2 p.m. Let's put some commas in there. Man, I'm getting excited. Last thing, we're going to get this rich text from Airtable to display as such. Right now, there is no markdown formatting at all. The way you do that, get into the template, find the block that you want to have rich text, go $MD space, rerun, we are so golden, dude. Look at this. We also didn't get that page break that we had in the last one because we used the avoid situation there. I'm so pumped. You know what? I'm just going to put another one in here. Oh, we actually almost forgot something. We want to be able to trigger that PDF document from the interface, because we're not even going to have the people who work at this company using the base itself. They're only going to use the interface. So we have an add item button here. We're going to add to that the generate itinerary button. Shorten both of these up. And we're going to also have the attachment. We'll use a hero. put that there. Make it nice and small. Maybe we don't want hero. Maybe we want it to be field. Carousel. Hero. Sure. Hero. Let's stack these up instead. Give everything a little more space. At least give those a little more space. And then preview. So this has got our attachments. Let's pretend that there are none. So we'll delete them all. Here you've got the attachment field's got nothing. We got the add item button. Let's shape this up a little bit better here. Let's put this button under here. And this button under here maybe. Give some more space for the attachment. Okay. And let's just prove to you that we can add anything to this, watch it display in the preview, hit the generate PDF button, and have that perfectly formatted PDF file generated instantly. Now, just because I'm so excited about this, we're going to do one more thing. In this column, I'm going to add another, in this section, I'm going to add another column. And in this column, I'm going to put an image. And in this image, I'm going to put a logo. And in this case, I'll just put, well, let's look for a logo. Somewhere in here, I've got Industry Records logo. There it is. Cool. Let's put that in there. Heck yeah, dude. Let's make these justified right. Justified right. Justified right. Industry Records looking great. Boom, boom, boom. Anything else we want to do to be fancy here? I don't think so. I don't think so. Man, I love this stuff. Okay. So now we're in the interface. We say, oh man, I just heard about another item. I got to add it. Let's go. The title of this item is Q105.6 interview. The status is pending. The details: show up at the station and text, I don't know, Samantha when you arrive. Her number is whatever, 555. Talking points include boom, boom, Boom. The start time is going to be right before you go to the airport. Something like that, I don't know. So let's say the 12th at 10 a.m. The end time is going to be the 12th at 11:30. Because we got to get that plane. Contacts. You can certainly hit Michael Brown if you got an issue. And the location is, just for this sake, we'll just say it's going to be back at the Boardwalk Theater or something. No big deal. Submit. The interview shows up. The interview shows up. The interview let's go. Industry records, lay a little, June 2023 promo tour, itinerary. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, step 6. Interview. Let's go. And that's it. Video's over.